What's up, YouTube? Seth1Wrath here, back from a very long hiatus, the reason for which was that YouTube stopped accepting iMovie format videos. Now, I'm a Mac user and I use iMovie to create all my content, so obviously this was something of a problem. I thought that I would have to get some kind of whole new software in order to edit and do commentaries for my videos, and so I was doing a couple of free trials of stuff, and I was about to purchase what I thought might be good software, but then I got told that there was a way to reformat iMovie videos so that they can be accepted by YouTube and they maintain their quality. So thankfully I was alerted to that before I went off and spent a bunch of extra money on software I didn't need. But now I am back making videos, and hopefully there won't be any problems from here on out. But that's not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about is Close Quarters and my first impressions of it, because as you can see in the background, I am playing Close Quarters here because I am a PlayStation 3 Premium player. And overall, my first impressions are, I'm pretty impressed with Close Quarters. It really is a lot of fun. It's frantic. There's actually not a ton of camping. There's probably less camping in Close Quarters than there is in regular game modes because you have to keep moving all the time. The mode I'm playing here is Gunmaster, which was actually my first full round of Gunmaster that I had ever played. I joined a couple of others that I joined them in the middle, so they weren't really worth filming. But this was the first full match of Gunmaster that I ever played, and it ends up being quite exciting at the finish. It's quite a dramatic finish, so pay attention to the footage in the background for that. And also, Close Quarters is really screwed with my already bad connection, so there's quite a few instances of kind of funny lag moments if you're interested in any of that stuff. So anyway, the way this mode works, for those of you who don't know, basically is every one of the up to 16 players starts at the same point with the MP443 Grotch as their only available weapon, and you have to get 2 kills with it in order to move up to the next weapon, 2 kills with that in order to move up to the next weapon, etc., through 16 tiers of weaponry until you get to tier 17, which is the knife. And then you have to get a kill with the knife, and whoever does that first in the game wins the game for themselves and for their team. I find this mode is a lot of fun. It certainly requires you to know different guns, and it gives you an opportunity to try out some guns that you may not have unlocked yet. There's not a lot of camping in this, so that's really good. It's a lot of fun to just run around and know that the people who are going to do well are the people who are going to be aggressive and run around and actually try to win the game and not be thrown wall hacking in some corner or something like that. So other game modes, there's obviously squad and team deathmatch for all of the Close Quarters maps. Now, I'm not much of a deathmatch player. I've never been much of a deathmatch player, so don't look to me for deathmatch footage, but I will say that I played a couple rounds of it, and it's pretty good. It's functional, it's nice, fun deathmatch. Only Close Quarters with fewer people. So if you're into that, you'll probably really like Close Quarters deathmatch. I guess it's like Call of Duty, but a bit more refined and a bit more varied. So if you're into that, I definitely recommend it. I'm just not a deathmatch person. Then finally, we have the most anticipated game mode, which is Conquest Domination. And it's basically normal Conquest, except there are a few tweaks that really change the game mode from regular Conquest. Basically, the main changes are flags are no longer spawn points. They only dictate who bleeds tickets faster. And you can only spawn on squad mates or a random spawn point, so flags are not spawn points. Secondly, the capture radii for the flags are much smaller than normal. You know, 10, 20 feet across as opposed to maybe a whole building or something like that. So everyone has to cluster in close and in order to capture the flag. Also, the flags are captured much quicker because it's in such a small area. So, if you have a few people on a flag at once, it can go from complete enemy control to complete ally control in a matter of a couple of seconds. And again, I think this really enhances the Close Quarters experience because it means that often whoever is the more aggressive team is gonna win. because you have to constantly keep moving, you have to constantly keep capping flags, because the enemy team is going to be capping them for themselves really, really fast. And so you always have to be running around, you always have to be doing something. You can't just be sitting in a corner for minutes at a time, because your team is not going to win that way. On the other hand, if a team is really, really coordinated with their camping, especially on Conquest Domination, it can be a royal pain in the ass to do anything about them. For example, in one of the games that I played last night, Conquest Domination, there was a clan on the other team that had 3 of their members each go to one of the 3 flags. And what they would do then is one clan member would put C4 all over Alpha, one would put C4 all over Bravo, one would put C4 all over Charlie, and they would all go prone in some corner near the flag and wait until they saw the icon flashing. When they saw the flag capture icon flashing, they detonate C4, and as I said, the capture radii are very, very small, so they could get a ton of people in the blast radius at once, and they would proceed to get easy triple, quadruple, quintuple kills just from detonating C4. Now, if you manage to somehow blow up the C4 before getting into the base with a grenade launcher, grenade, or rocket, or something like that, when they tried to detonate the C4 and obviously it wouldn't go off, they would simply rush in and kill everyone on the flag. And you're probably thinking, well, if there's 4 people on the flag, how can one person do so much damage? Well, the reason for that is the flags in close quarters are exposed from multiple angles, many, many different sides, almost all of the time, and unless you have several people all looking in different directions, it's very hard to not get shot when capturing the flag, because you don't have long sight lines, you don't have any way to see enemies coming except from the minimap. And so whoever is in the flag to begin with, whoever is capturing it or trying to defend it, is at a massive disadvantage, in my opinion, to the people who are trying to attack it and take it from you, because you can't see where they're coming from. So when the guy who is camping in the corner with the C4 knows that you're on the flag, decides to come out and kill you, he can immediately get on target on 3 or 4 of you pretty easily before you even know where he's coming from. And you may end up killing him eventually and capturing the flag, but the whole process ends up being very, very long, and it means that you take a lot of time out of the time that you might be using to regularly capture the flag to just try to make sure he's not going to kill you before you even capture it. And like I've said several times now, in close quarters, the more aggressive team is often going to be the one who wins. The team that's running around more, that's using their time the most efficiently. And when you're forced to take, quite a long time to just make sure there's no C4 all over the base, and make sure there's no prone guy wall hacking on the edge of the flag, it really makes it difficult to attack against a coordinated, campy squad. And I understand coordination is key. You can't win a lot if you're not coordinating, if you're not in a cohesive squad, but it's communication between guys who are just camping in walls, camping behind crates that you can't see, and the game mode being Conquest Domination, meaning that the flags are so small, the areas are so confined. If you camp and you're calling out where the guys are, it's so easy to completely take out entire squads, half of a team even, because there's only 8 players per team in close quarters. So you get one guy who's just camping on a flag with C4, and boom, that's half the team gone if that one group of guys who are going after that flag don't detonate the C4. So I've probably gone off on a bit of a negative tangent here, and it sounds like I might hate Conquest Domination more than I do, but really, it's really fun if both teams are trying their best. I had quite a few games where everyone on both teams was running around, really making an effort to try to capture flags, and in that scenario, it is a ton of fun. I cannot express how much fun I had just constantly running around, trying to shoot people, trying to watch my back, and cover allies, and capture flags, all in these small and wonderfully rendered environments. It's almost more fun than regular Conquest. In fact, I'll go as far as to say it is more fun than regular Conquest a lot of the time, if both teams are trying. So I guess it all comes back to, again, the players. The players are going to dictate the game. The game is only going to be as fun as the least fun players. And that's true across all game types. I mean, it's true in Deathmatch, Rush, Gunmaster, Conquest, whatever you're playing, but in Conquest Domination, I think it has a lot more of an impact than it might have on other game modes, except for maybe Rush, because obviously if you don't have guys rushing the crates or defending them, you're never going to get anywhere, and one shot, you're done. So, but yeah, I think close quarters, domination, Conquest Domination, it is a lot of fun overall. I highly recommend you try it, even if you're not a Conquest player. If you're especially if you're more of a deathmatch player and you don't like the objective modes as much, I think you'll find that Domination and maybe even Gunmaster are more appealing to you than the regular objective modes, simply because there's more killing involved. There's fast-paced action everywhere. There's so much to do all the time, and if that's what you like about the deathmatch type modes, then you kind of get the best of both worlds in Conquest Domination and Gunmaster, because even though in like Gunmaster, yeah, your objective is to kill people, it's still a good mix of there's a goal that you're trying to achieve, and you're just having fun killing people at the same time. So, whatever your playstyle is, whether you're a deathmatch type person, an objective type person, or someone who likes to play everything, definitely try close quarters, and definitely don't give up on it if you happen to be on a bad team or be against a really campy team like I was against last night, because the players may be able to ruin the game to some extent, but the game itself is so good. I'm really impressed that it's not just sort of a choke pointy clusterfuck like most of us can agree Operation Metro and maybe Grand Bazaar are. It's really a lot more complex than a lot of people believed it would be. In fact, I might go as far as to say it can be even a little too complex, because there's so many different routes to go on every single map, and you can get turned around really easily, and like I said, it presents a problem at the flags, where there's 100 different angles that the enemy could attack from, so guys attacking on flags have a much bigger advantage in defending flags. But it's still really fun. All of these flaws don't really detract from the overall experience. And I guess I can say something about the maps, since I've been talking about the map dynamics a little bit. The maps are gorgeously rendered. They have a great sense of atmosphere. They have very different environments to each of them. I don't really know if you can get what I'm trying to say here, because obviously they're all sort of urban, and a couple of them are fairly industrial looking, but each of them has its own unique feel, and you really feel like you're in the setting when you're playing on these maps, and it does nothing but add to the experience of frantic close quarters gunplay that you're just completely immersed in. I guess that's a good word for it. The immersion factor is really, really high in close quarters, because you don't have time to just sort of sit back and look at the map like you might have on a gigantic map in vanilla Battlefield 3 like Karg Island or Caspian Border, for example. And just the level of detail is simply stunning, from tons of fully rendered office desks all in a gigantic corporate-looking area, and here's one of those lag moments that I was talking about, just side note there, I don't know how I didn't kill that guy. Anyway, detailing is amazing, gigantic courtyards like the one you see I'm in here that have tons of detailing in them. Destruction is pretty impressive. Obviously there's no buildings coming down or anything like that, because everything's inside. Most of it is inside anyway. But you can really tell at the end of the match that destruction has happened. There's really a sense of atmosphere, a sense of immersion. Like I've said, there's really not much else to say about it. It's really impressive what they've done with it. Definitely exceeded the expectations that I had, because I certainly expected it to be sort of a campy, linear, only one way to go. Everyone's just shooting at each other constantly, no strategy, whoever has the best connection in the game automatically wins sort of thing. But no, it's not like that at all. It's really a ton of fun, and it's augmented by the new patch as well, because the patch, at least in my experience, has really decreased the input lag problem, and it's balanced some of the weapons out more, so shotguns are not as prevalent as you'd expect them to be. They're well balanced for this kind of scenario, and I really haven't come across any weapons that I find to be overpowered or anything like that. All the weapons feel pretty fair, pretty balanced, even the ones that you unlock through the close quarters assignments, which are pretty powerful. Like the ACWR, that's a pretty damn good gun. MTAR 21, that's a pretty damn good gun. But none of them really feel overpowered to me. So I think that any worries that anyone had about shotguns being too overpowered, the FAMAS being too overpowered, anything like that, they're not valid. In my experience, they're not valid. Unless some guy is intentionally lagging the server out or something so hard that you just can't see him before he comes around the corner or something like that, there's no bullshit nonsense going on in the game mode at all because of weapon balancing or anything like that. So I'm really, really glad that DICE balanced out the weapons the way they did. I'm really glad that they designed the maps the way they did. I have a few issues, like I said, with the way that Conquest Domination works, and some things like that, but really, there's no other way you could do it, and keep the game mode the way it is, keep the objectives the way they are. And anyway, there you see, I win the game, first Gunmaster game I've ever played from the beginning, with that knife on that guy at the end, even though there was another guy who probably would have gotten knife any second if I hadn't gotten that knife. So I was pretty happy about that, pretty impressed that I was able to do that, considering I've never played such a game mode before, and I've never been a deathmatch type person, so I'm not too used to doing nothing but killing people. But anyway, it turned out to be really fun. Whole expansion overall, definitely worth it. Definitely worth it to get premium if you're on the fence about that, because you really do get a lot of content from it. And I highly recommend everything that you've heard about in Close Quarters, even if your first impressions might be that it's a little out of whack. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Have a nice day as always.